Ready to test it out?
Steve wanted me to
Alright, so, I'm all set up. We can get a round of applause for our second speaker. Where you can be successful. So I love the props, I love everything you got going for you. Just own it, right? Feel comfortable. If you ever stumble and fall, I never grade you on that. I grade you on how you get back up. So, feel free to just let loose, be yourself, and inform us when you're comfortable. Whenever you're ready, take it away.
Wait, no, damn it. Alright. Settle in! Today I'm going to be talking about something very near and dear to me. Over the course of my relatively short lifetime, I have loved many things. TV shows, video games, believe it or not, some people too, but we're not here to talk about that. No. I stand before you here today to talk about the culprit that stole my heart back in 2014. A little point-and-click indie horror game that you very well may know, called Five Nights at Freddy's, FNAF for short. My sincerest hope is that you leave here today with a better understanding of the history and contents of this beloved game of mine. So let's get right into it. Originally released on Desura and later on Steam, with over 3 million downloads and an average review score of 92%. It's no exaggeration to say that FNAF took the internet by storm. Many people made entire livings off of its popularity, including popular YouTubers such as the Game Theorist, aka Matthew Patrick, and Mark Edwards Fishback, better known as Markiplier. Though, of course, if you want to talk about money made off of FNAF, the biggest one you hear was the game's creator. According to SteamPowered.com, as of 2022, the original Five Nights at Freddy's has made an estimated $5 million, with 3.5 of those millions going to this fine gentleman right here, Scott Cawthon. Pulling from an interview that he had with YouTuber Daco on August 8, 2018, we know that Scott had his beginnings as a developer of small, obscure, Christian-oriented indie games. Rather ironic considering the content of his later flagship series, but nonetheless. The turning point of Scott's game developing career started with failure in the form of Chipper & Sons Lumber Co. What was meant to be a fun tycoon game for kids, as reviews poured in, a glaring problem reared its head. Players found the character models in the game creepy, weird, unnerving, and well, yeah, look at it. And sunken eyes, the guys look a little weird, and this was supposed to be for kids. So naturally the game flopped. He lost money on it, lost of time, money, it sucked. Most people would have seen this as reason to give up. Scott Cawthon saw opportunity. Using the feedback he got on his character models, he decided to hone in on the scary aspect and created a horror game. Thus the birth of Five Nights at Freddy's. So now I'm sure you're wondering, what made this game so special? What made it different from the rest? Well, that requires a little bit of a history lesson. Before Five Nights at Freddy's, whether it were a small indie game like Slender, or a critically acclaimed AAA title like Resident Evil, practically every horror game before FNAF had one thing in common. In all of them, you ran away from the monster. You were gifted a big open plain, a big old map to traverse and evade the monster in. So imagine gamers' surprise when they boot up this new Scott Cawthon horror game and are greeted with this. A small, dark, dimly lit, claustrophobic room. small, dark, dimly lit claustrophobic room, the only sound being that of a running fan as ambiance. Players were armed with cameras, lights, and 2 doors on either side of the room. And as players were to fiddle around with the controls, it wouldn't take them long to realize their new reality. That in this game, rather than being able to run away from the monster, you were forced to stay in one singular room and have to wait for the monster to come to you. I was supposed to switch between these slides when I said, monster, come to you. So apart from this, I guess you could say, revolutionary to indie games, different gameplay style, you can't talk about FNAF without talking about the lore. Another big aspect of FNAF that made it very popular back in the day was the hidden story it seemed to have under all the clues you could find throughout the game, being newspaper clippings, mysterious animatronics, and phone calls in game that would tell you about events like the missing children's incident and the bite of 87. So this is just a taste of just how deep and convoluted this gets. And so this mystery of the game, the mystery of its story, is what brought much of its long-lasting success. Thousands of videos online taking a crack at what they believe to be the true story of the game. So I'm sure you're wondering, with the game being nearly a decade old now, 2014, 2023, it's been 9 years. The story's probably been solved by now, and I'm sure you want to know it. So, there we go. So yeah, what is it? What is the true story of Five Nights at Freddy's? I have no idea. Quite frankly, to this day, it's not solved. No one knows. There's no concrete idea, and that's again why the game is still so popular now, because everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to figure it out. Yeah, so most things regarding the godforsaken story of this game are pretty up in the air, and quite frankly, if I were to go over even just the most popular theories, we'd be here till next Tuesday, and I promise you that is no exaggeration. Though for the sake of your ever-curious minds, I've compiled the only 100% agreed upon aspects of the story, and will now regale you with the extremely simplified and watered-down version of events as we know them. Did I have something? Yeah. So, the story of FNAF, at least the parts I can say. So there's this fellow of a purple color by the name of William Afton, who is the co-owner of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza franchise. For one reason or another, he decides he wants to be the next feature on America's Most Wanted, and he begins to abuse the fact that he's the owner of a pizzeria for children. Dressed up in a mascot costume of one of the pizzeria's beloved characters, Bonnie, he begins luring kids to the back room of the pizzeria, and one by one, kids start going missing around town, until a total of 5 have disappeared. Poor old Susie, Gabriel, Fritz, Jeremy, and Cassidy. Sadly, these kids were never going to be found, since old Willie A had decided in all his insanity that the best hiding spots for their bodies was inside the animatronics of his pizzeria. So, as horror games go, blah blah, logic, don't think about it too much. The kids' bodies in there, animatronics are possessed. That's why they try killing you in the game. That's really all I can say without sounding like absolute madman or getting into stuff that isn't age appropriate for this. So yeah, there's the story for you. If you'd like to know more, I recommend numerous YouTube videos. Matt Pat, he's one of the big ones. And also most of this information I pulled from Matt Pat videos and some IGN guides. So So then, between the revolutionary genre-changing gameplay and the overly convoluted but ever-enticing puzzle that is the lore of the game, I hope I've been able to properly inform you, and even if it's not to your cup of tea, I hope you now understand why me and so many others truly love this game. Five Nights at Freddy's. Thank you.
So like,
Yeah? Any questions?
kids that died are now like killing other kids.
No, they killed the people at the pizzeria because they just generally don't trust adults anymore, because I mean, would you?
No, but they don't have anything to do with it.
They don't know that.
Like it's probably just like some 17-year-olds like drugs and like need money for the car. Now they're just like haunting this dude, bro. Like that's kind of sad.
They're 5-year-old kids, they don't think.
But they have like morals, no? As a 5-year-old, they have morals.
Bro, they're mad. They got murdered. Like, leave them alone.
So I could beat them in a fight, you know, like, I think, you know, if they're dead already, right?
Wait, I got two questions.
Yeah, question.
Who's your favorite FNAF character?
Foxy. That guy, this little guy right here.
It looks scary.
Yeah.
And then what's your favorite FNAF game?
It'd be FNAF VR, but that's just mostly because that one's like all the games, but in VR, so that's kind of cheating. So I guess like of the original games, FNAF 2. Yeah.
I forgot my question.
Take your time.
Oh, how do you guys survive? I can't never make it one night. Because you say that they're supposed to come to you, right?